Hi guys, Asmo here, and today I'm going to talk about my league start strategy and how it went, the tips and advice I have for you for league starting in this league, what works well and what I think is kind of a bait that a lot of people are falling for, and I'm going to basically give you examples of what you can do to have a really good league start. So first of all, I did exactly what I planned in terms of the early levels. When I got to level 59 in the campaign, I went straight to heist. I heisted from like level 59 to like 64 or 65, something like that. So for a few levels I heisted there until I got to the level where I was comfortable getting into maps, and I basically made enough currency to buy myself a 6-link, like a corrupted 6-link that had life, evasion, spell suppression and resists on it. I recolored it to 5 green, 1 blue with just like 4 Val orbs and 4 chromatics. It was very easy to do. And then I still had like a bunch of chaos, like 30-40 more chaos to just buy some rares that I needed to just fix my resistances and cap my spell suppression. And from there on I had like a bunch of currency that I could do whatever I wanted with. I had tons of like little small currency, so I could buy maps, buy contracts if I wanted to, and it was very smooth sailing. The strategy that I went for in terms of the Atlas was very simple, and I think this is the go-to strategy that you want to do if you want to progress Atlas as fast as possible. So if you look at the Atlas tree here, I went straight up right to the Kirak nodes, skipped the Kirak nodes, I'm going to tell you about why later, and I went right to the right side, picked up this Shaping the Skies, and then I rushed going around to Shaping the Valleys. This made it so that I have like a really nice build that I can branch off of into all the good things, right, that I want to pick up. So first of all, let me tell you about what is actually a bait that I would not be taking because it's simply less optimal, right? So strong boxes, essences, any type of league mechanic early on that isn't Harbinger is kind of a bait, right? Like especially the essences. It wastes your time. It's not gonna give you a lot of map returns. It's just a waste of points. It's definitely just like imprisoned monsters have 25% chance to drop an additional rare item with an essence modifier. Like why would you want that instead of just having more maps, right? Instead of having 2%, instead of having chance to duplicate maps, right? This is insanely powerful. This chance to duplicate maps rolls once per monster, right? So for example, I was doing a map boss. The map boss dropped 2 maps, but it rolled the duplicate, so he actually dropped 4 maps, right? So the map boss gave me +2, and it also like rolled 2 maps, so it actually dropped 4 maps because of the duplicate, right? It's a super powerful mod on these small passives. So these points of like going around here are actually not wasted. What is wasted is if you're going for the Kirak stuff, right? The Kirak stuff is like 1% chance to get a Kirak mission. Like, so you run 100 maps and you get 1 Kirak mission, or in this case, like 4 Kirak missions per 100 maps. Who cares? Who cares about a Kirak mission per 25 maps? When you'd rather just be dropping these maps instead of having to buy them, right? It's such a bait. Like you're gonna run the Kirak mission, which is a shitty map that doesn't benefit from any of the insane juice that you can add to it. It doesn't benefit from any fragments, scarabs, anything that you put on it. You cannot add map mods to it. You cannot add the like map craft on it, right? It's such a bad deal. And on top of that, like this is also 60% Atlas scouting reports found in Atlas. Like this is really bad. This is the biggest bait that people are going for. You are gonna get some Kirak missions. You're gonna do them. It's gonna refresh the store, and you're gonna buy some maps from it. It's great. It's fantastic. You should definitely do that. But you don't need more of them. You're gonna just be dropping the maps. I'm swimming in maps. I have more maps than I know what to run for. I'm progressing currently through the Atlas. I just filled in some maps just basically from what I found and from rolling them with horizon orbs, because horizon orbs are insanely powerful. Orb of Horizons is the reason why I'm going for the Harbinger nodes, right? So you can see that as I passed here, I'm close to all the Harbies, right? So I am close to here, so I picked up this Harby. So areas contain an additional Harbinger. Then they drop more currency shards. Then we've got Harbingers that are faster, so it doesn't actually waste your time. You just kill them really quickly and move on. more chances for extra Harbinger, and then we passed up here through the duplication, which is amazing, through item quantity, which is also amazing, through more Harbingers, which is great, into 25% chance to be a King Harbinger. So I actually ran a map where I had 4 Harbingers, 3 of which were King Harbinger. It's definitely a high roll, but it can end up giving you so much juice. And the most important thing from that is that you have a consistent source of Horizon Orbs. Orbs of Horizon allow you to fill in your Atlas. You basically go to your Atlas and you type 1 and you see, okay, am I missing ones? Am I missing 2s? You type, let's say I type 5, right? Am I missing? If I was missing more than I had of these maps, I would definitely just pick up any tier 5 map and Horizon Orbit immediately, and then I would very likely get something that I don't have yet, run that, get more bonus completion, which would give me more points on the passive skill tree for the Atlas, and that would give me more maps in return. So this is insanely powerful. Because of this duplication mechanic, because of how you progress the Atlas and the fact that you want +1 maps, the very, very powerful thing to do is also go for this one, right? So unique bosses in areas drop additional basic currency item, which is whatever. It's still like it's still better than this fucking bait, but unique bosses have 20% chance to be duplicated if possible. This means while you're running maps, you're gonna have 20% more map bosses. And map bosses is what fuels your map progression, getting into higher tiers. If you're like stuck in lower tier maps and you cannot progress to your, like, if you want to go to like T14, T15, T16 maps and you're struggling getting into those tiers, you are gonna benefit so much from these nodes, right? From these nodes that I'm picking. So I picked up all the Harbies. It's on the way. I picked up these and I rushed to Shaping the Valleys. Shaping the Valleys is absolutely insane. Considering the price of the map crafts, right? The map crafts are the cheapest ones. They cost 2C. The cheapest ones cost 2C if you look at this, right? The Abyss, the Domination, actually the Abyss, the Domination is 3C already. And Fortune Favors the Brave is 3C. So at most you're paying 1C, but probably you're paying actually nothing to have 10% quantity, 10% rarity, 10% pack size. This is absolutely insane. This is like one of the most broken nodes on the entire tree. Like 10% quantity is massive. That's like a big item. Like this is like one node here gives you 1 quant. This is giving you 10 of those, right? It's like, sure, you cannot run some other mobs here that you might want to run, like Beyond or whatever, right? But this is for map progression. For map progression, you're not going to be putting Beyond because you're not going to run maps that are very juiced yet. You don't need to run Harbinger. You don't need to pay more chaos for it because you simply might. You might also hit it from this Fortune Favors the Brave, but you're going to get Harbies from this, right? So you don't need to put it on your map device because you're going to get guaranteed Harbies in your maps. So this is such an insanely powerful node that you should definitely rush to. I have so many maps. It's so easy to progress. I'm just getting map drops over and over and over. So that's when it comes to the Atlas passes. The next things I'm going to go for is probably going to be filling in, shaping the seas, and then shaping the mountains. That's going to maximize my map drops. And after that, I'm going to head toward Conqueror stuff, right? I'm going to go toward the late game. By that time, I'm pretty much going to be arriving at the late game and focusing on that. That's my strategy, and it's paying off very, very well because I'm having such an easy time progressing through this, right? So that's what I recommend. When it comes to the league mechanic, let's talk a little bit about the league mechanic. So league mechanic is a little bit underwhelming. Well, now that I say that, well, I dropped like shafts from it. Like I actually was streaming and I said, this league mechanic is so underwhelming, and 1 second later I dropped shafts from it, right? So it's not that underwhelming, but it doesn't shower you in currency. You actually definitely have to think a little bit about what you're doing. So here's what I recommend. Look at the crafts that you have, or rather the Archnemesis monsters that you have, and find something that is good that you need. So for example, maps, currency, Harbinger, or fragments. Those are the good ones, because with fragments I'm actually able to like self-sustain sacrifices. So I'm running 3 sacrifices in each map by farming them in the league mechanics. The way I do it is I put the sacrifice monster first, and then on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th I just put whatever random trash, like just rare items, armors, weapons, jewelry. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're basically guaranteeing that you're gonna get 4 times the first good one that you put in, right? And that's my general strategy with the league mechanic. First, I put in something that's really good, like currency, maps, fragments, harbinger, which gives me more harbinger orbs as well. And then I put 3 trash ones that are just going to extend the amount of times, like increase the amount of times that I can get the good one, right? So I'm definitely using it that way, and it's very, very nice. And it allows you to just get a bunch of maps, a bunch of fragments, a bunch of currency, harbinger, like orbs of horizon and stuff like that. I kept using a bunch of orbs of horizon. That's how I am able to basically just completely fill in my atlas as I'm progressing through it, like with just like missing 1 or 2 maps per tier at most, as I'm progressing upwards. So I'm always having super nice progression, super smooth. It's right at the level that I'm at in terms of my gear and everything, and I'm just clearing these maps with harbingers. It's so much juice because it also keeps rolling beyond, because I'm playing Poisonous Concoction. So I basically just run the maps rare unidentified, because why not? I don't care about the map modes. I can run any map mode. So that's what I recommend doing. So definitely don't get baited by Spoils of War. That's another map. Like, people were asking about this, like, why are you not picking Spoils of War? Because I linked a tree and it had these 3, but then no Spoils of War. So Spoils of War is so insanely bad. Like, depends, like, you drop a lot of currency items, right? The currency items that we drop here are transmutations, alterations, chances, annuls, augments. I'm not sure if these count as well, like ancient orbs, alchemies, regals, chaos, all of that stuff, all of these currencies, right? I think, I'm not sure if glassblowers bubbles count or not, but like these different currencies are much more common than, for example, exalts, right? If you want to look at exalts, like how many exalts you would get, like how much would you have to run to get exalts? If you assume like a basic map that you start running early on, you have like 10 rare mobs, let's say, with these nodes in per map, right? Let's say you have 10 rare mobs per map, just to make it simple. And if you would find an exalt per 1,000 currency items, which I think is extremely optimistic. Someone said it's like per 10,000 currency items, you find an exalt. But let's say it's per 1,000, right? That means you would have to run 10,000 maps in order to find 1 exalt out of this node, right? So you need to run 10,000 maps for 1 exalt, right? As you're increasing the number of rare monsters, that goes down, right? But I think it's not 1,000. If let's say it's like 5,000, right? Then you need to run like 50,000 maps, right? And if you do that times 10, if you have 100 rare monsters, then you would need to run 5,000 maps in order to find 1 exalt. I mean, this is absolutely worthless. This is an absolutely worthless node that you should never pick, right? And if you want to say that, well, but I'm gonna get rare jewelry, I can do chaos recipe, like you just do heist. Just run heist while you're leveling before maps. You're gonna do chaos recipe, you're gonna get 50 to 100 chaos, and then you're just gonna move on with your life and not do chaos recipe ever again, right? So that's definitely something I recommend skipping, right? I recommend skipping essences. Essences cost 1C. Why are you gonna waste your time and passive skill points on grabbing like 1C essences when you can instead duplicate your maps, you know? Like, you can do so much more powerful shit. Like, you can get quantity. Yeah. So let me know if you have any questions about league starting or about this strategy. I'll try to look into the league mechanic a little bit more, and I'll update my loot filters as well to show which of these fragments are worth picking up and which are bad, and maybe do some distinction there in terms of how they're shown on the loot filter. But that's going to be a little bit later. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great league start and see you next time.